This is the Plain English Real Estate Show with your host, Rowena Patton, a show that focuses on the real estate market in terms you can easily understand. Now here's the English girl in the mountains, the agent that I would trust, Rowena Patton.
Good morning, this is Rowena Patton on the Real Estate News Radio Show with Deanna Allen and Kelly Denney, and we're talking about challenges we've had in real estate in the last couple of weeks. So I'll kick it off if that's okay, guys. You want to say hi to everyone?
Hi, everybody. Great to have you on the call today.
Hey, everyone.
Here's my interesting take on it, or it's been very interesting, and I've learned a lot from it. So it's interesting in my world, I guess, that I've been working with a few buyers recently. I have a number of listings, and I focus on the listing side. I've been working with a few buyers, and it has been, I'm not going to say intolerable, but very, very difficult being on the buyer's side. Why? Because most listing agents don't take the time to certify pre-own the homes. All it means, guys, is get an inspection up front. So if you've got your house listed or you're thinking about listing it, get the pre-inspection. I love it when I went out to a listing this week and the lady said, I've been listening to you for years and here's my pre-inspection, because she's been listening for so long, right? So I can tell you from the buyer's perspective, here we are, we're 2 weeks into buyer negotiations. This is the bit that you don't realize happens when you buy a house or sell a house. Most states have some form of what is called due diligence now. Due diligence period, everybody has. That's a time in which you get to check out the house, look at the area. Sometimes people say they're sex offenders next door. As the buyers, you can check all of that out when you're going there, right? So that's your due diligence period. And then you have your inspections. Please don't not have your inspections. You may be in construction or something like that. Just have an inspector look at it. So here's the difference. When you're going to a certified pre-owned listing, it's already had an inspection, and the listing agent's going to say to me, this listing is certified pre-owned. Let me share the inspection with you before we go into contract, right? Because a third of contracts drop out on average when they don't use the CPO process. It drops to 7%, and here's why. So I'm representing the buyers. They haven't had the pre-inspection. We've been 2 weeks back in renegotiation. My buyers a few days ago said, I'm walking. Like, you know, they asked for $15,000, and most of it was very, very reasonable in what they were asking for. Roots into the septic tank, a dead tree that was in close proximity to the house, all that good stuff. What other things do you see on inspections, guys, when you look at inspections?
You know, things like those old galvanized pipes that a lot of older homes have, or knob and tube wiring that nobody wants anymore.
Oh, yeah. And it could be things that the most annoying things for sellers are the balustrades on a deck. What do you call those? Pickets on a deck. When they're half an inch too far apart, and a baby, if they push the head really hard, could get the head through it. Right. So I've had sellers get very annoyed by that. But yeah, there's all kinds of things that come up. So I've had one, there's, you know, minor root intrusion into the septic tank, a tree coming down. But the worst thing was some mold in the crawl space area. Now, the people who own the house, it's not my clients, haven't been in the house for a year, and it had closed up vents. And it turns out they took the dehumidifier with them. So about 50% of the time here, you'll find people, if it's encapsulated, you need to do that in the crawl space area. So you'll find people put dehumidifiers in and they close off the vents. Well, that's fine when the dehumidifier is there. But the minute you take it out, you're going to have some mold growing. And when the inspector goes in, most inspectors in most states aren't allowed to say mold, but they say fungal growth, right? That's pretty scary to a buyer. Have you guys ever seen that? In the crawl space, have you ever seen fungal growth or moisture in the basement? I've done whole radio shows about moisture in the basement. We used to make...
always.
Yeah, right.
I would say always when they're at the crawl space.
Yeah.
Because nobody puts that, even the wife doesn't even put that on husband's to-do list. I need crawl into the crawl space, make sure there's no fungal growth. That doesn't ever happen. That's not one of the things to do.
And it's very common. And it's because you've closed it up, right? The vents aren't open. And usually when you close the vents, you're going to put a dehumidifier. They took the dehumidifier with them and it's been sitting for a year. Of course, there's some growth. But of course, that scared my buyers to the point where they said, do we need to get an environmental survey on it? You know, do we need to get the environmental inspectors in to do a fully fledged survey? So we looked a bit more closely at the pictures and didn't look like there were any damage. It just looked like some, you know, surface fungus on there. So agents, if you're listening, or buyers, if you're listening, of course you can go ahead and have that full inspection if you want to. Just in this case, we didn't think it was that necessary. So we finally got through it, but it took 2 weeks of negotiation. We had buyers that had been looking for months that now were going to pull out. We had sellers that had been listed for 8 months and hadn't been in the house, and they're divorcing for 8 months, now facing the buyers pulling out. We had an agent who was looking to disclose all the items we came up with. This is the real life mess. Real life mess. This is what destroys deals. It almost destroyed this one. Now, put it on the other foot. Had this house been certified pre-owned, it's not magic, right? But we'd have done the inspection first. We'd have found all the wood and stuff and things. I mean, you don't expect an agent to crawl in the crawl space and check that out either, right? I mean, you're right, Kelly. That's what husbands are for. So, but who's crawling in the crawl space, really? Apparently, they'd left lots of wood under there, like building materials. Perfectly normal when you've got a dehumidifier, right? It's a good place to store them. But not now. We've got fungal growth. It just creates this really scary picture. And that's what comes out of the inspection often. So that's why pre-inspect, pre-inspect, pre-inspect. I'm going to hand it over to Deanna and she can say her real estate challenges in the last few weeks. And then we'll hand it off to Kelly.
Okay, thank you, Ro. Yeah, so I mean, obviously there are a lot out there, and we're speaking specifically today to the inspection and the importance of it. You know, the negotiations that come back and forth after a home buyer does their inspection is, like you said, really what stalls things. And the home seller often thinks, hey, the buyer's going to do their inspection anyway. Why on earth would it make sense for me to do it now? Well, this is exactly why, because these surprises come up. And what happens with a buyer's viewpoint is they see a price on a house. Let's say they're looking at a house and it's $500,000 as the asking price. Well, the second they get that inspection back and see all of the things that are on the report that need to be repaired, according to the inspector, what happens in their mind? They deduct. Things that need to be fixed and dated homes are automatic deductions in a buyer's eyes. And that's just what happens. Yes.
Can I build on to that, Deanna?
Of course.
So in all of our markets, and you're across the other side of the country, in all of our markets, we're in a declining market right now. Mine is anywhere between 4 and 10% forecast decline in the next year, and it declined that in the last year. You're actually on the other side of the country, and your figures are very, very similar. And Kelly, your figures are very, very similar too. So the interesting thing there is a lot of buyers in their mind are thinking, oh my gosh, these prices have gone up so crazy, right? They already, and they know the market's declining. So they're nervous. You've got a lot of nervous sellers out there, nervous buyers out there that are sitting, nervous sellers too, but nervous buyers that are sitting on the fence going, is it the time? Our interest rate's going to drop. You know, we're having some of the lowest sales in the last 10 years right now. So you've already got this small pocket of buyers. So when you do get this beautiful goose egg, is it goose egg a bad thing? Beautiful eagle's egg that's golden, that's in your nest, which is your wonderful buyer, hatch it out. Because guess what? That buyer's already nervous. They're worried they're paying too much. So in your point, Deanna, when they get the inspection report back, when it's not a certified pre-owned home, you're going to have 40 to 60 items on that inspection report. When they get that back, aren't they using those as a big negotiating ploy? Hey, I've got 40 items on here. Let's just get 20 grand off because we're paying too much anyway.
Exactly. Yep. That's always what happens. And so, you know, using the certified pre-owned method for people to sell their home, for home sellers to sell, really, you know, decreases their chances of the contract falling out by, from a third to about 7% is what we've seen across the board. And so what does that do for the home seller? That puts more money in their pocket. Everyone goes in eyes wide open.
Yeah.
The buyer feels more confident and everyone's happy at the end and we make it to the closing table.
And we don't have those awful negotiations where it's all so stressful. I mean, over the last few weeks, I've seen texts coming back going, well, from the buyers, and because we're agents, we're sort of peeling back the curtain here. So from the buyers, they'll say things like, I almost want to read you one. We should do that one day. Say things like, I can't believe these home sellers think they're an inspector and know better than the inspector. This is absolutely necessary to be done. I know you've both seen those. Everybody gets very agitated. They curse. They get very angry. They often blame it on the agent, whichever agent side, they're blaming it on. It can get very, very ugly. I've actually seen back in the day when sellers and buyers sit around the closing table, I've seen fisticuffs pulled. I've seen like punches pulled across the table. Like it can get,
good.
and it's not unusual though for it to get very tense, right? I mean, in both of our markets, our average price point is about $500,000. So you're buying something that's $500,000, of course and selling something that's $500,000, of course it gets tense. Of course, people get gets their irie up and all that good stuff. What do you think, Kelly? What have you seen?
Well, yeah, I agree with you. I haven't seen fisticuffs, but as we're sitting here discussing this, the things that pop into my head is we are, with the interest rates going up and house prices coming down, which is great, but interest rates make them unaffordable. I've been sitting here thinking that this is a paradigm shift we need to happen. We are historically, forever, it has been a reactive market, and the home buyer brings in the inspector and they see the list. What do we say on average? 45, 50 items?
40 to 60.
And their eyes pop out of their head and they're like, oh, I didn't think this home would be that bad. And they send it to the homeowner, and the homeowners think their house is fantastic, but they don't know everything about it because they just know about the things they use day to day or they deal with commonly. And it's like, so they get blindsided. So they're both reactive.
Yeah.
So using the CPO method, it becomes proactive. And I had the thought, it's like if you're thinking of going to the gym, this strengthens the homeowner's muscles. So one day you think, hey, I'm going to the gym. And you go to the gym and you do everything. And what do? You pull a muscle, you hurt your back, and you don't go back out for 30 days. Well, doing this will help you strengthen your home seller muscle, so to speak. And it gives you the information so when the buyer comes back with their inspection, you can marry them together. But we've talked about this before, is the level of trust and transparency it creates from the seller to give their own inspection to the home buyer's agent, and then they can see what's coming on. And the seller is not going to be blindsided. That happens. It's got to be high 90%. Nobody does the certified pre-owned with the inspection up front, and they have to. It just strengthens their house. And we're always aiming to make their house stand out on the market. And this is the way to do it versus just going, I'm going to put my house on the market and I sure hope it sells. But you literally have no idea if it's going to sell in this current market, because unless it's just the diamond and all the cliches you can come up with, it's not going to sell if you haven't done your homework first.
So, Kelly, riddle me this, Batman. So, can I call you Batman? Is that all right? You all can't see the screen behind Kelly, so now he's Batman. Let me be Robin for a minute. So, honestly, I've been tearing my hair out about this because I've been, on the buyer's side for the last 2 or 3. Actually, people we've helped through the cash offer in different states who have moved here. That's why I ended up on the buyer's side, helping the buyers. So it's infuriating to me when we're going through this mess, when I know a simple inspection could have cured all of this, right? We've nearly had 2 drop out now. A simple inspection. And I can hear the homeowner saying, yeah, but the buyers do that. And why would I spend $550? Because it's a massive insurance policy. That's why. And you end up losing way more money, $4,000, $6,000, $10,000, because the buyers will ask for it. I can hear the sellers saying, well, I won't pay that. I can tell you from over 3,500 transactions, when you're in the midst of it and you're in a declining market and you finally got that buyer after a year, you probably will. And I know that feels rough and I know it feels tough. Do the inspection up front. Why are more agents not? I mean, how would home sellers know about it? They probably haven't sold a house in 10 years. They're not in the business. Any successful agent is selling 1, 2, 3 homes a month. They know what happens. They know. We're not just telling a story here, guys. Honestly, every single deal, people don't go, oh, the inspection's great, wonderful, okay, move on. Oh, happy closing day. I don't remember the last one that went like that. Everybody gets a little nervous. The market's declining. Interest rates are going up. What's going to happen with the war? All these things are going on. Politics are going on. Everyone's nervous. It just doesn't happen like that. There's anything from a little tenseness where people are nervous to really all out freaking out about something that's going on in the house. But would you say that's fair, guys? I'm not exaggerating, am I?
Not at all. I can honestly tell you, in my entire history of the number of sales I've done, there has literally never been a seller inspection done. Never. And it's like, unless your agent is a general contractor, well, I happen to be one, but I'm not going to go inspect their home. I mean, I could, but agents in general do not inspect a home. They should know what's going on with the house, and the more they know, the better. But I've literally never had a pre-inspection.
So you are a contractor, it's a little bit different, and you were recently exposed to this. But why do you think agents aren't? Isn't it a blinding? Sellers and agents, when they learn about this, say that is a blinding glimpse of the obvious. It's a no-brainer. Like, why aren't we all doing this? Right? In California, it's widespread. So why is it, do you think, that agents aren't explaining this stuff? We can't expect home sellers to know. We do lots of these shows, been doing this for 14 years, talking about certified pre-owned, best-selling book on it. We do lots of marketing on it, all the good stuff and things. But you can't expect homeowners to know about it because they sell a home once every 10 years, maybe once every 7 years. Agents know this goes on. So have they just not got to that blinding glimpse of the obvious piece? Is it because it is more work? We have to explain to the home seller why it's such a good idea. Like, why are more agents not doing this?
They're running along with tradition. This is tradition. You get a listing agreement, you put a sign in the yard, you throw it on the MLS. Unfortunately, today it goes to every website in the wherever, in the world, but it's just not part of their training, and it's just commonality, and it's not taught. It is not taught through the brokerages to their agents. It's not. They don't know it. And the other thing, when you mentioned dropping, putting out $500, oh, I don't want to do that. We've talked about it many times, and you bring it up all the time, Ro, is you're going to have to make adjustments. And that first adjustment they're going to have to make is going to be 10 times the price of a $500 inspection.
Yeah, easily.
Absolutely. Without question.
In fact, on our cash offers, what we do is we put in an amount. So we do 5 ways to sell your house. For sale by owner, we give you the net. A grandma's listing, we give you the net. A conventional CPO, where you do the inspection, we give you the net. Certified pre-owned, where we give you the majority of your cash out up front, and then we list it CPO and you get another check. And now we have the new one and done offer, and all the net, in other words, the money you put in your pocket is on one sheet. So we put all of that in place. On that, when we do the cash offer, we always put, so it says, what's the mortgage amount outstanding? By the way, guys, if you're listening out there and you're thinking about selling your house, go and put it in at cash CPO. That's for certified pre-owned. CashCPO.com. Go put it in. It'll take you 5 minutes. See what just for a home value. See what home value comes back. You'll actually get an offer, which is a real home value, right? That's a real home value. On those cash offers, we always just estimate $5,000 for repairs, right? On the inspection report, because the inspection report comes back, it's going to be at least $5,000. So we try and not put too much in, but we know that's going to come back. just like a normal transaction. So you're right, Kelly. You said 10 times, it's at least 10 times the cost of an inspection. But even more than that, it's not just money. Spend the money, it's an insurance policy. It's the fact, should your listing drop out a third of the time, which what happens with grandma's listings, which is all you've ever heard of are grandma's listings, not certified pre-owned listings. If it's that, it's going to drop out a third of the time. Here's the problem with that. You've got a stigmatized listing. Everybody and their dog calls and says, what's wrong with it? That drives your price down. Isn't that worth the $500? Plus all the stress and agony and angst. If you could just have a viewpoint, we need a reality show. Selling Beverly Hills. Yeah, right. Let's look at real life real estate. What happens, right, where people are they would throw punches. They're just keyboard warriors instead. All the stuff and things that go on, that would be interesting, right? Because it is agony. Take the agony away for $500. Go for it, Kelly. Take us home.
So the other thing too is some of it may be, we'll offer from the seller side, we'll offer them a homeowner's warranty for 1 year. Great. That covers major things, but that doesn't cover everything an inspection is going to show. So they're tied into this commonality of like, we'll give them a homeowner's warranty. It'll all be fine. It's like, hey, save yourself. You're going to bring your money back by doing a home inspection. You will get your money back on your house better than that.
I agree, because if you've got mold or a tree that's dead or something, the home warranty isn't going to cover that, and it needs not to show up on the inspection. Any last words, Deanna?
I would say if you're selling your home, find someone who can represent you using the CPO method. You'll have a lot better experience in the end, as will your buyers, and everyone will be happy at the end of the day.
Much happier, right? You'll be on the 9 out of 10 instead of the 2 out of 10, which is normally how it scores. This has been Kelly and Deanna and Ro on the Real Estate News Radio Show. Anywhere in the country, if you'd like to find an agent, actually anywhere worldwide these days, with the CPO method, or that are taking it to the next level for you, give us a call 24/7, 828-333, 4483, 828-333. 4483. You can see all the episodes at realestatenewsradio.com. That's realestateradio.com. See you on the radio next week.
You've been listening to the Real Estate News Radio Show with my friend and the agent I trust, Rowena Patton. She's not only a best-selling author who's helped thousands sell their homes, including the tough ones, she also coaches agents across the country to elevate their game. Connect with Rowena at realestateenewsradio.com. And if you're thinking about selling, get your full market value offer at cashcpo.com.